This month, we're really going to focus on using a special playlist to automate your EAS tests and alerts. Um, we're going to go through the initial considerations and configurations, the special playlist, and then arming your system. Um, get your notepad ready. I spent some quality time with our good friend, Mr. Dave Ryan, yesterday, and he gave the instructions like this. And I could not take the notes fast enough. So I'm hoping to go a little slower for you today. Um, and I'm going to show you how to do this in what I will call 7 easy steps. But we all know in engineering that for each of the 7 easy steps, there's a dozen extra steps inside that. So without further ado, I'm going to share first my central server. So when we talk about initial considerations, um, as I switch screens, it's going to take me a second to catch my breath here. Here we go. All right, let me make sure that that's coming through for you. Okay, if you are using a Sage EAS encoder or codec, then you may want to follow in the Wide Orbit Automation for Radio user manual. There are step-by-step instructions of how to use your Sage. You can also be using other devices to do this. What I am showing you is some of what you would use for that, but I think you could also use the Sage widget within Wide Orbit Automation for Radio if you so choose so. So I'm going to show you how to do the generic one that isn't necessarily device specific. So the first thing is configuring your GPIOs. So here we are in the central server configuration. I'm going to pick on my router 2. And inside router 2, I'm going to pop down to my GPIOs and just show you. And you can certainly do a screen grab here to see how we've set this. But you want to have inputs for EAS pending and EAS EOM. So that's your initial trigger and your end trigger. And then, of course, for your outputs to send an EAS. So those are the two or the 3 different configurations in your GPIOs in your devices of your central server. Again, I promise to try to go a little slower than my good friend Dave. So I'm going to go ahead and catch my breath here, and we're going to pop over to Playlist Editor. So here in Playlist Editor, now we're on to step 2 of our 7 easy steps. First thing we're going to do is create 2 workflows. So the first workflow, pretty easy peasy, is going to be our EAS test. Now, as you can see, I've already got these created, so I'm going to hit edit instead of create, but I think you know what I'm implying here. And within this, I have built this workflow to play the intro, then do the output action of sending the EAS test, and then wait and until we get the EOM, and then play the close. So all of the things I need for an EAS test are encompassed in this single workflow. And of course, you create the workflow by just dragging and dropping things from over here on the right, and then configuring these little things. The one thing I will point out in the send EAS, Dave recommended that you select pulse in this state instead of high or low. So there's your EAS test workflow. The second workflow we create is the EAS forward. So here we are. Again, I've put the assets, the audio assets within the workflow. And then my action is to send the EAS again. So this is just, these are how you create your 2 different workflows that you're going to use. This is actually the forward. The reason you do 2 different ones is this one's the forward audio versus a test audio. All right, so that's step 2 in our 7 steps. Here we are to step 3. We go into special programs. And you would create a special program. Of course, I've got one here. One thing I will tell you is you may be tempted to label everything the same. So you would call it EAS forward in one thing and the next thing and the next thing. The software will not let you, so that you can't accidentally select the wrong thing. So it does recognize if you've used the name EAS forward in your workflow, then you have to name your special program something else within here. So I named it EAS forward main. And again, I just did create new entry and picked execute workflow. And in the options of executing that workflow, here they are. It is simply that we're going to do the EAS forward and wait for it to finish before moving on. So it will do that whole workflow, including my audio elements. And that is all I need in this special playlist. It's so strange that I can't hear you yet. So I'm excited to see your questions after this. Then, of course, you have to go back in and select your EAS forward and schedule it. Now, as you can see, I have one, but I'm going to show you how I created it. And I'm just going to call this EAS forward, it's generic. So there we go. And this is all you do, and you would hit OK. You do not select a traffic or have it like pull in playlists. It's just give it a name and hit OK. And that will create your schedule instance for this. Okay. So believe it or not, that was steps 3 and 4. Now we're on to step 5. And step 5 is we create a satellite template. So as you can see, I've done this, but you would just hit create. And when you create it, make sure you select this satellite template. You don't want it to be an hourly template. And Dave pointed out that the difference between these two is the hourly shows up in your sequential playlist versus satellite is in the background. Of course, listening for EAS forwards to come through should be something we would do in the background. So here, all it is you right click, create new entry. Nope, I apologize. You're going to, yes, workflow action, and it is load playlist. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up all the options here so you can see a little bit better what I have selected. But so I've got that I'm loading a playlist. It's going in at midnight, and all it's doing is going to listen for that EAS pending input to come through. And when it does, then of course we're going to schedule it. And this should be my EAS forward main, EAS forward schedule, and then start the new playlist immediately afterward. So those are the options that you select there. I'm pausing so you can grab a screen grab. Okay. Then we go to the format. And if you don't know how to do this trick, I highly recommend it. But also bear in mind the trick I'm going to show you. If you have already pre-built different satellite templates, default satellite templates for your station, then don't do what I'm about to show you. So this is important. Either you're going to, so here I've just picked Monday for my satellite default satellite template or format, and I have selected to put the EAS forward template there. Now you put it in at midnight, and then it will listen for those to come through for the entire 24 hours of the day. So you don't want to necessarily have to do that 7 times. So then you can copy, and you can copy your Monday template. Make sure you have the Monday template selected, and you can hold the shift key and select all of those and press copy. And it will say, do you want to overwrite with the settings from Monday? And we say yes. And now we have inserted those EASs on all of our default satellites for that station. So that's how you arm a special playlist to listen for incoming EAS and to forward it with the appropriate audio elements in line with that. And then what we can do is I'm going to go ahead and switch to sharing my on-air screen. For your actual EAS test, of course, you can schedule them as an element within your log, within your playlist, or you can put them on a hotkey. And to do that, we just click on Edit, and we select the hotkey, and you can label it. You can make it whatever color and font size you want, but then you run the workflow, you select, and that's where you grab your EAS test. And so anybody who hits that button is going to run a test. That is how you can utilize wide orbit special tool sets to manage your EAS.